Hey everyone, welcome back to High Tea Hoops. This is Brian Bosche at the Duke of Hoops, and I'm joined by Skylar, Duchess of Hoops. What's up, Skylar?
Hi, Brian. Super excited for today's episode.
We have a very special guest, Rahmon Fletcher, two-time BBL MVP, current Newcastle Eagles player. Rahmon, what's up? Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm really excited about this. It's something that I normally don't do, or I'm not able to do with the outlets now, but I got a feeling this is going to be really, really good.
Yeah, we're excited to get to know you better. Obviously, Newcastle has got a hot start into the BBL season.
Yeah.
Hot start. It's been really fun watching everyone, especially a lot of the young players come on. But before we get into the current season, just want to get to know your background a little bit. So you played at Green Bay, and right after graduating, you transitioned to playing in Europe. So what was that decision like, moving from the States to play abroad right after college?
It's one of those things that you don't know what to expect. It's one of those feelings that I had going from high school into a university. You know, you hear all the horror stories, you hear all the good stories as well, but it's also one of those things that I like to experience things for myself. You know, if I hear what other people say, if it was she says or he says or anybody says, it's hard for me to just believe it. So it was just like transferring from high school to college. I just didn't know what to expect, but what I was in for rude awakening, because it's a different culture. Because I started off, I didn't come to England straight away. I went to the Netherlands, which they speak Dutch, and the food is different. I can't read the labels. I can't read the food labels or anything like that. So for at least 2 weeks, this is going to sound ridiculous for people that know me. For 2 weeks, I ate M&Ms, Twix, and drunk Coke every single day. Because
you couldn't find anything else?
I just didn't know. I didn't trust it, because the people that are from there, they tell you, the food kind of expires in 2 or 3 days. And I don't stay on top of it like that. You know, in college, we eat pizza, frozen
prepackaged,
pizza.
yeah.
We bake burgers. So like now I'm really on my own. But after I got used to it after a while, I kind of just got a sandwich, made some crisps. I mean, I figured it out for sure.
Yeah, stay away from the coffee shops and the space cakes. Don't go there before a game. Just stay away.
Maybe after the game.
Maybe after the game recovery. Hey, the NBA. The NBA Players Association. I think they don't test for marijuana anymore. We're in Seattle, so they did
that in the bubble, so
that's true. Yeah,
I think it's gonna be one of those things where they're not going to care, just go turn the other cheek with it. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I stay away from that, of course.
Of course.
So you're playing in the Dutch League, which did you play with? I have a few friends I think you might have played with. Philip Bach, did you ever play against him? He was out of Santa Clara.
That sounds familiar, but I was 2011.
Yeah, I think he's 12, 13. He's one of our friends here. Or Kurt Kreko in the BBL.
Kurt Kreko. Yeah.
So he went to Dartmouth with me. He was on the.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he played. I was on the club team. And, in the Ivy League, there's a big drop off from when you get your gear to people quitting the team. There was always that, like, stay for the gear. Okay, is my scholarship tied to athletics? Nope. All right, great. I'm going to just go to class. Yeah. But
I do know him.
Kirk worked for 4 years, and he got a lot better. Stuck it out across multiple coaches. So I was glad to see him join the BBL right after graduating.
And just super smart. Super smart player. Of course, going to Dartmouth, of course, but yeah, I was really impressed with him.
Yeah, Kirk was great. But he made the jump to the BBL. You made the jump to the BBL. So what kind of excited you about joining the BBL back? What was that? 2013, 2014?
2014. So when I left the Netherlands after the 2 years, I felt like I needed a change. I needed to go somewhere else. And the agent that I had at that time, any other professional basketball players know that my agent chased money. He chased money versus chasing the right situation, the right club for me, the right country. He just chased money to the point where I lost out on many deals. I had a deal in Truffle Sopot in Poland. So like, say I'm your agent. I tell you, hey, we got this deal. It's for this X amount of money. I'm just waiting for them to sign it off. Perfect. Truffle Sopot, big time team in Poland, really good money. Then the next morning, he said, oh, we lost the deal. So I'm just like, well, where do we go from here? Yeah. So it's just strung out all the way till the end of October, beginning of November. And I'm like, well, I think we need to cut ways. We need to cut ties. So I sent him a termination letter. but he kept me under contract for 90 days.
Dang.
So I couldn't sign with another team. I couldn't sign with another agent or I would get sued. Which, at that, my couple years out, I don't have the resources to get a lawyer to sue an agent. So I sat all the way until the end of January, beginning of February. And by then, clubs don't want to take someone, a 5'9" point guard at that age with no NBA pedigree. They're not going to take a chance on someone like that when it's over thousands and thousands of people that, players that want to come over. So I signed with a new agent, and I signed with him in March. And I say by June, he got me the Newcastle job. But I had to sit out, so basically I sat out an entire year, and I found him on Facebook. That's how I found my agent. Crazy.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah, so the history is now. Then I came here, I met Fab, but he's not here anymore, which was a player coach, which was a different transition as well. Getting used to someone that actually playing and telling you what to do. But I think I made a pretty good decision.
Yeah. So if we're newer BBL fans, what kind of situation were you walking into at Newcastle? Because they are obviously I think they're the winningest club in BBL history.
They're the winningest club. We won over 20 plus trophies across the trophy, the cup, the league, and the playoff. So they already had a rich tradition. And the same exact team came back my year versus me, the point guard, and a two guard. So we're going into this situation like, okay, there's going to be a lot of pressure on us because they're going to lean on us, especially being American. Yeah. And me being the helm, being at the top, being the point guard, I know I had a lot of responsibilities. So that was a responsibility. And I was coming off of not playing for an entire year. Yeah. So I'm thinking like, oh, man, can I even fit in, So it was many, many days of practice where I'm like, oh, man, I just don't know if I got it, because I started working at House of Hoops. Yeah. I was working at House of Hoops for that year, and I was just thinking like, all right, how can I work myself way up in the Foot Locker Corporation? I wasn't even thinking about basketball, Yeah. And then I got this job, and then now I'm in Newcastle. I'm in here for a long time. I should have a British passport by now, but
Yeah, you had been with the Eagles for a while, then left to go play in Slovakia, then just recently rejoined the Eagles. What made you want to come back and rejoin the team?
Truthfully, so I spent 3 years. In Newcastle, and we won every trophy. And I felt that I did everything that I could possibly do from an individual standpoint. So I'm like, okay, well, I need a challenge. I want to feel like, I did when I first came out of college, just that fire of learning, adjusting to a new country, and what I learned these past 3 years, can I implement it in a different country? So I get there, so I chose to go to Slovakia, and I was so adamant about, okay, I'm done with the BBL, time for me to move on. So I get to Slovakia, and it was totally different than how England is. My coach
You're
was
back
Serbian.
to eating M&Ms.
No, I
can eat again.
No.
Got a nutritionist this time. Yeah.
We actually had a restaurant where we ate 2 meals a day, so I really didn't have to cook that much.
Clutch.
So I got lucky with that. But my coach was Serbian, and Serbian coaches are crazy.
We've heard this from a few people.
Oh my God.
Byron mentioned it too.
Yes, they're crazy. So we ran for the first month. So I got there August 1st, and I didn't come home until May 22nd. No Christmas break, no holiday break or anything like that. But I'm used to it being over here. Yeah. But for the first month of preseason, we didn't touch a basketball. All we did was run on the track at 9. We lifted at 10. We went to the gym at 10:30 to do agility, ate lunch, come back and do more drills. And it's like, coming from England, I'm like, what am I doing
we play
here?
Basketball?
Can I at least see a basketball? I want to see a basketball, And coming from this, if I say that the status that I had here, going to Slovakia, which basically he told me in our first meeting, I don't care what you did in the BBL. I don't care what individual accolades you did there, because they don't respect the BBL in different countries, different leagues. So on top of him being crazy, on top of him not liking the BBL or not respecting the BBL, and on top of it just being Slovakia, Eastern European country, post-communist, I struggled. To be honest, I struggled, and I missed that. I missed things like this because they didn't do things like this over there. Yeah. It was you show up, play in the game, clap to the fans, and go home. And that's all you did. Business. It wasn't any interaction. Versus here, You talk to fans. Fans chant at you, yell at you, and you can actually understand what they're saying. So that was something that I missed.
Fun.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. It wasn't fun for me, and that's one of the things that I always told myself. When basketball becomes a job, that's when I'm done. Mm-hmm. And I can't stand the quote. I don't like the T-shirt that said "basketball is my job" because I just don't believe in that. I just don't believe in that. And so, moral story. That's why I came back, because I needed to feel like I was somebody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's amazing that you basically sat out a year because of agent issues, which I don't know how 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds are supposed to navigate that situation with no resources.
19-year-olds.
There's so many stories of athletes getting burned, which is horrible. But, you came in, got the 2 MVPs, had a ton of success with the Eagles. What, these questions, like, what did it mean to you? But, like, was that validating? How did you see that? Did you see it as just a stepping stone? Because waiting out a year and not knowing if you could sign another contract at 2-time MVP is pretty amazing.
Yeah. To be honest, I just was happy to play again. Because throughout that year that I sat out, I started losing who I was. I had no identity. I was just a stockroom manager at Foot Locker at House of Hoops. And, I go play every once in a while. We play Foot Locker versus Foot Locker. And I'm thinking, do you guys know that I actually can play? And they're like, oh, yeah. You know how many times we probably heard that people say, yeah, we play here. I'm like, no, I actually play professional. And that's just something that you hear. But now, they really kind of know, they see on Facebook and things like that, like, oh, he wasn't just making that up, So it was, and to this day, I don't feel validated. I don't feel like I've done enough, and I feel like I just got to get that year back daily, every single day. And anybody that knows me, I never talk about individual accolades. You never hear me. Just yesterday was my first time posting a highlight film in a while, and that was because a young guy had did it, and I had so much respect at his story.
D's Reels, right?
I just wanted to give him that. It wasn't, I get highlights every single day, but I just wanted to post him because I felt like his story and how he came. It's kind of what you did with this. The quarantine, let me pick up the podcast. And it's the same thing that he did, So I just felt like I felt him more, so I just did that. But, yeah.
It's such a team guy. This is like the Mamba mentality, but it's such the plight of athletes too. No matter what you achieve, there's always more. You're just Sisyphus, just keep grinding and never being happy with the result. And, we can go into philosophy, but it's like, all right, I'm just going to enjoy the journey. Same with startups, same with any kind of goal that you're pursuing. Once you get there,
that's how I feel.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's my same motive to this day. I just don't feel like I've done enough. I don't feel like I've done enough, to be honest.
All right,
Let's talk about this season a little bit. How has it been training during a pandemic, and how has it been playing in an arena without fans?
I think the hardest thing to adjust to is on away. I'm fine with away. I don't want to hear away fans.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with that. But at home, we feed off of that. We feed off the crowd. We feed off of kids yelling and blowing horns and things like that. When you guys come over, you catch a game. That's something that you're going to adjust to. Kids are blowing horns the entire time, and you feed off that, especially if they're cheering your favor. And I think that's the biggest adjustment that we've made as a collective, as a group, because you just treat it like a scrimmage, or you treat it like practice now. So you just focus on basketball, and you hear all the chatter between the players, all the chatter between the coaches and stuff like that. When it's a positive, when you hear your teammate cheer for you on the bench, I know it sounds so cliche, but it does help. Or they shouting out a play. At a professional level, we know what plays and actions are coming. And if you hear that from your teammate, it gives you that extra, okay, this is what's coming. So it's kind of helping us in a way.
Is it also getting you guys in trouble how much you can hear each other? I was hearing stories out of the NBA bubble, some of the younger players were kind of they were trying to get themselves into it without fans, and so they were kind of under their breath talking a little shit on just trying to get themselves into it, and then other guys would hear them. I'm thinking about Duncan Robinson. He was talking shit to himself, and Chris Paul heard him, and Chris Paul wanted to fight him. So are you guys getting yourselves into trouble too because you can hear all the shit talking now?
Yeah, that too. And normally people that you think are quiet are the most people that talk the most. And you're well,
Duncan Robinson.
Yeah,
you can actually hear it.
Duncan Robinson is solid. Yeah, you can actually hear it. But it's like a bench player that, you know those bench players that get on the court for 2 or 3 minutes and they feel like they got something to prove. And it's well, you're going to go back sit down in about 30 seconds, you know? So I don't think you need to talk like that. But I think it's fun. To be honest. I think it's fun. I prefer it with the fans, but this is not a bad second option.
Yeah, definitely. And, obviously Newcastle's off to a hot start. You're in I think it's the BBL show Group of Death, where you're with in the BBL Cup, where I think you're with the Riders, the Lions. Also, the Riders Raiders is really hard for new fans. I always want to say the other. We can talk about those, Brandon.
There's
later.
Not even that many teams. How are the names that close?
I know. It's okay. We're still trying to get to know the cities.
I'm not going to talk bad about the BBL. I love the BBL.
Yeah, the BBL's been amazing.
We love the BBL. This is no harm against the BBL.
We'll figure it. It's on us. It's on us, guys.
Yeah, it's on us.
We got to figure it out.
Blaming on the Dutch and the Duchess. I'll blame you guys.
So why do you think the team has started off so strong, even in preseason, now in the BBL Cup? What are some of the things coming out of this pandemic that you've been able to pull together as a team?
I think my answers are going to sound super, super scripted or super PC, but I think the way they recruited was very, very well. I think the way our management and our coaching staff recruited, because
the team fits.
You can get it just fits. And me and Ian had to talk about it yesterday. We passed each other in the hallway, because we were talking about the game coming up against Leicester. I'm not going to go too much in detail with that, but we passed and we just fit. It was 4 or 5 clips in the Leicester game where you just sit back and I watch it back like, well, that was really good basketball.
Yeah.
And it's no knock on the teams that I played with before, but it was a type of basketball that I never witnessed or I've never been a part of playing. And I think we just fit. The chemistry is good, and we run. We run. We're fast. We try to get the ball up, of course. And one thing that I always stress to the team, the ball moves faster than any person can. Mm-hmm. So if we throw it, we look back chin to shoulder, then we can just flow right into our offense. Like if you watch us, yes, we're moving fast, but the ball is moving way faster than we are, So I think that's the thing. We bought into the system. We bought into how we want to play. And we actually just like each other.
Yeah.
I would say love. We don't love
so
each
important.
Other. We really like each other.
It's been so fun to watch, though, because we had DeAndre on, Liggins, we had Byron Mullins on to talk about the Basketball Champions League and how they're thrown together pretty fast. And it's pretty, from a fan's perspective, it doesn't like their pieces, they're still trying to figure it out. And, they have so much talent, but obviously on the court, they're trying to figure out what are the rotations. I think they played 8 or 9 people in the first half. So they're just, trying to find those rotations. We're watching your team, like, you fly down the court. Even Evan Maxwell is just horsing it down the court like a stallion and it just dunks it. He's good. And he hit 2 threes, horsing. He's a stallion, Skylar. And the team, like with Pfluger and Sayers, and it just seems like everyone is coming together. And you have playmakers like Cortez Edwards who can just come on if someone needs some help or you need some buckets. It's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, and one of the biggest confidence from a point guard standpoint is, point guards are usually the small and fast people. When you see your 2, 3, 4, and especially your 5 get up the court before you, it's just like, oh man, I could just sit back and just do this with the team. I just steer the team this way, steer the team that way, and you see Evan just fly by me. Sometimes I'm like, well, I gotta give him the ball now. Turnover or not,
reward the big
ball. You got to, you got to reward the big. The 2s, they're used to running 3s too. You got to reward the 4 and 5. And I love playing in the backcourt with Cortez as well. Yeah, I was really impressed with him last year. So
yeah, your behind the back pass, I think it was to Justin Gordon where he threw it down. I yelled watching that live, and it barely, the camera, I think it's key motion or whatever you used, barely got there in time. I was like, don't let me miss this because the fast break. But it was a fun game to watch. Yeah,
I think that was a really fun game to be a part of. Any Leicester Newcastle game is going to be like that, I'm not going to speak. It might not be like that Friday. I don't know, but usually history says that we really play really good games.
Yep.
You're talking about how well you guys all get along on the team. Mm-hmm. Can we get to know your team a little bit? Can we ask you some questions about your teammaps?
How personal?
I'm not going to quiz you.
Because I have to go to practice with them tomorrow, and I have to play with them the rest of the season. And being a captain, I got to be tough. So.
Okay.
All right. Don't compliment them too much. Tough love.
I'm not complimenting anybody.
Well, that really throws a spanner.
I'm kidding. Ask me anything. I'm open.
Funniest player was, who had the best style. Can't compliment any of them. Should we just be like,
go for it.
L's the worst? Who's gonna be late? We can't hype him up.
Yeah, ask those questions. No, I'm kidding. I'm open. I'm open. Ask me whatever. I'm ready.
Okay. Who's the funniest player on the team?
Darius by far.
Yes, Skylar, your favorite.
By far.
That's my guy.
He would like to hear. He'd like to hear what somebody's favorite. He's hilarious.
Skylar may or may not have referred to him as the thick king on our last podcast. So
I love a thick king.
Darius. We're big Kyle Lowry fans. Big Darius.
Rahmon doesn't love that. He didn't like that.
You guys are actually giving me nicknames for them.
Thick
and I
King,
love it. So
Sexy Rexy. We'll just throw it on the pod. Sexy Rexy, Rex Pfluger.
I got it all. I'm putting it all in my notes. I'm not going to call Rex that. I don't think I'm gonna call him that.
Yeah.
But
I think even if you say thick king, you're gonna get some weird looks.
Yeah, I'm not using your nicknames. Not
okay,
in public.
Who has the best style on the team?
Me.
Honestly,
Nice.
I was wondering how long it was gonna be until you just started saying you for all of that.
Well, we want to do BBL fits. We did it. We've done it with DeAndre Liggins because he's a big fit guy. I think they did. I think the Hooper's Voice may have done BBL fits, but I'm excited to see more style coming out of the clubs.
They do the shoes. I think Hooper's Voice, they do the shoes too.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of into the shoes and the fits too. Yeah. But it's kind of tough now because,
I know there's no runway anymore.
There.
Yeah,
No
no
fans.
runway. We don't have a red carpet or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also super interested in just Americans in England and what that kind of experience is. So is there anything you miss about America when you live in England? Like, I know personally, I stayed in London for like 7 months at one point, and I love ranch dressing. Like, I dip my pizza in it. Like, I dip everything. Like, I don't
just
eat
give
it
her a
on
bucket of
salad.
ranch.
I don't eat it on salad, but I'll dip basically everything else in it. And I really miss ranch dressing when I'm there. So is it maybe is it barbecue? Like what is the one thing for you?
I think just food in general.
Yeah.
You know how many options we have back home? We have, and they're open 24 hours. And here, they have some form of barbecue, some form of American diner cheeseburger type thing. Like, I eat that every once in a while. I think it's the food is probably the biggest thing that I miss. You can't go to Chipotle. You can't go to Qdoba. You can't go to Noodles and Company. You don't have those
Mexican
options.
Food. That's another one, Skylar.
Mexican.
Yeah.
You're going to end up getting recruited to go to the Lions just because they have Chipotle in London.
Yeah, and in Reading, they got a Chick-fil-A supposedly.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm hearing they're starting to put Taco Bells in London, and I'm very pumped about that.
They're supposed to do an In-N-Out burger in London, too. They did a little trial run. Yeah.
The Queen of Hoops will like that one.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah, but I won't join London just because of the food. I've been here.
Living in England.
So.
Yeah. Go ahead, Skylar.
What's the opposite of that, though? What's your favorite part about living in England?
I think people are genuinely nice, to be honest. I think they're genuinely nice. And, of course, us being Americans, when they hear our accent, they want to just talk more. They want us to talk more. So I think the biggest thing, they're just,
Our accents don't sound awful over there?
No, their accents still sound awful to me for some reason. But yeah, they just like us. They just like us. And I think my favorite part over here is that sports thing. Of course, sometimes I adapted football or soccer. Sorry, I adopted soccer, of course. And basketball is starting to turn the corner a little bit, I think. Starting to turn the corner a little bit. There's still some work to do, but I feel it's probably the second most played sports by the kids coming up.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Soccer is number one, of course. Then it's basketball, which I don't know. I don't get why it's not more supported in it. It could be the next. It could be the next league under NBA if they got those resources. My opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard that The Last Dance actually helped a big bump of interest in basketball in the UK.
Mm-hmm. Of course, Michael Jordan is the most popular athlete probably in the world.
Yeah.
And I think it came at the perfect time. I was one of those people that pushed for The Last Dance to come out early because I needed something. And I think they made the right decision for sure.
Yeah, well, we've talked
really kept us going.
It really did.
How long was it? 5 weeks in the pandemic?
Yeah, it did. Because I was watching old Michael Jordan games and old Allen Iverson games, and I didn't know if it was my eyes or the screen. I just couldn't stay, a part of it. It's just like, this is not good basketball. That's what I was thinking the whole time. Like, this is not good basketball. And you already know. You already know what's going to happen, but I was so happy when the NBA came back as well.
Yeah. And I think you're right with the BBL and the UK in general. Like, it is the second most popular sport, I think, because they actually have it in school. You know, they teach it in school. So almost everyone can play. And we've talked to 777 partners who are the new investors or owners of the Lions. And their outlook is, you know what, the UK has an enormous sports market in general, tons of betting as betting becomes legalized across sports. It's an obsession as well as in the States. And having the BBL be, you know, it's the top 20 league in the world, top 30.
Easily,
and it's with 66 million people in the UK. Like, it's got to start growing, and it's good to see more people getting involved in the sport.
It's just going to take one person. It's going to take one investor and one person that just go back it, and it's going to just take off, I believe.
Yeah, a TV deal. There's so many things there's so many things that'll get the ball rolling, and it'll just snowball.
And it's crazy that we're thinking that. I wonder what the people that's actually inside, like, what are they talk? What do you talk about? You know? Yeah, it's hard to, like,
the short term versus long term, like the pandemic hitting right where there's the momentum, trying to get government funding. It's so hard. Like, I just tweeted this out yesterday, but it's like, do you have fans pay to watch games, or do you have it free? And if it's free, if you're trying to get that TV deal, if you're trying to bring in bigger sponsors, they want to see the interest, but you also need short-term revenue because there's not fans. So it's hard to balance the short and long-term decisions.
Because with the TV deal, like, of course, the TV deal, they want to see, you know, okay, this club actually is going to charge people to watch it. How many people actually paid for this?
That's true too. You can show more interest that way.
And with the free, they're like, okay, well, we're just going to pay these clubs and we're going to play it. How many people are actually going to watch it for free as well? And then just do the balancing out. So it's one of those things. It's the nip and tuck thing. Do you actually charge or do you pay? Like, I saw that. I just don't know. I don't know, because we want people to watch it. What's more important is us getting the short revenue, the short term, or do we just want people to watch it? Yeah. You know, well, with this pandemic, of course, you want to get paid.
Yep. Yeah. It's been tough, but I think the BBL has done a really nice job. Your teammate, Drew Lasker, is on the BBL show host. They have a great show. Drew's great on it. What's it like having a teammate actually on the BBL show?
I just watch what I say around him. That's it.
Yeah, he's the reporter.
I don't say too much. I don't give him too much gossip or anything like that. Just like, oh, yeah, okay.
Don't bring this on the show.
Ask me questions. Now that he asked me questions, I'm like, all right, what's the motive behind it? Are you asking me for, is this Drew or is this Andrew last year's BBL show? I don't know which one it is.
Listen, you can always come on the High Tea Hoops pod if you need to fire back at something he said on his pod.
Oh, really?
The platform is yours.
Official response.
So is it a little beef between you two?
Oh, no, we're supportive. Totally supportive. Don't you put a beef on us in the BBL show. We need an endorsement.
You guys asked me who the funniest person was, the best dressed. I just asked the question.
Very fair. So we've mentioned.
I'm proud of Drew, though. I'm proud of Drew. I think that's it.
Yeah, we talked about we had Zoe Skaman on, who talked about branding for athletes, and he's doing a good transition. You know, building the brand.
He took off.
Yeah, you love to see it.
Because I remember it was probably my third year. No, the year that I came back from Slovakia, me and him got into podcasts at the same time, just listening to podcasts. You know, I gave him, like, it was a podcast called How I Built This, which I was really,
that's a really good one.
I just love that podcast, and I gave it to him, and I was just like, man, that's so good. Like, I don't know how much I can actually, you know, interview somebody or anything like that. But when he did, I was like, yeah, that fits. Yeah, something. His branding is crazy, and he is consistent.
Yeah, consistent. And it's high quality. Like, their production value is really good. So good on you, Drew.
First thing I see when I wake up is Drew Lasker's Instagram, and the last thing I see when I go to sleep is Drew Lasker will train harder. I told him that.
That's great to see. Skylar, do you want to throw some listener questions out?
Yeah, let's finish on a listener question. I think we only have one. It comes from, I'm really sorry, I'm going to butcher your name, Fasika Zalilam. I hope I did okay on that. What can the UK do to promote the growth of basketball here?
Man, what a seamless transition.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like we discussed, I think from the marketing aspect, that is going to be number one. How do we pull people in to compare it to soccer? Because, to be honest, soccer is up here.
Yeah.
And how do we compare it without being very, very identical? I think the marketing part of it, promoting it, putting it on billboards, putting it in commercials and things like that.
Yeah.
What's the harm in that? Yeah, you got to come out and pay, but you got to pay. You got to pay something. You're gonna have to pay something. So I think that's one of it, because people are always on their phones. People are always watching TVs on the iPads and stuff like that. If you put it on a little ad on YouTube, you know how annoying those YouTube ads can be in the middle of a video. Yeah. Things like that. Like that's from a small scale, you know. And of course, I mean, the usual folks of Basketball England, see if somebody can fund it and things like that. But I think from a micro standpoint, I think something like that.
Yeah, just get the club's team marketing. Yeah, and the production value is going up across the league from what I've seen.
Sure is.
Like, I don't know if anyone saw the Rock's photo shoot with the fog and the lights. I saw that on Twitter. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, the Manchester Giants rebrand was really slick.
Right. And like the guy that did the highlight video, like,
yeah, that was good.
Him, you know what I mean? Like, people like him, there's probably a ton of people like that. Give him an opportunity, because it could be an internship or something like that, and then just get the ball rolling like that.
Yeah, well, that's what Zoe said. She's like, if you want to find someone who can help you create content, there's so many college, uni video editors, graphic designers that would happily do this for you. They're trying to build their portfolio.
Especially now.
Yeah,
especially in this pandemic, for sure.
Absolutely. All right, Skylar, you wanna close us out here?
Yes, Rahmon, thank you so much for coming on. This has been so fun. We just want to know what words you have for the Newcastle Eagles fans for this upcoming season. What do you want to leave them with? What do you want them to know? You're off to a hot start.
2-0, yeah. We're 2-0 right now, and to be honest, the season is, it's picking up. I think every team is starting to pick up their identity. We're starting to learn about other teams. We're also starting to learn about ourselves as well. But if I was just to tell the Eagle fans, just be patient. No matter what happens, the season is roller coaster. Basketball is a game of runs. In the game, and the season is going to be a game of runs. We can go on a 10-game winning streak now and drop 2. That's just how basketball works. So no matter what, be patient. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys back into the Eagles nest for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, man. We appreciate it, and good luck with the rest of the season this coming weekend.
Thank you, guys. I really love what you guys are doing, and I'm going to post and share as much as possible with this, because I like this. I really, really like this.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No problem. Thank you.